had always been the silliest, most fun-loving pony in town. If she was that upset over the closing of a rock farm, then it must be a big deal. For the rest of the day, every pony was abuzz with gossip and chatter about how Pinkie Pie herself had actually broken up a party. What was Equestria coming to? But I thought she didn't like the rock farm, Rarity whispered to Rainbow Dash. They were following Applejack as she led Pinkie Pie's family over to the big barn at Sweet Apple Acres. Well, the rock farm was her home, so she's probably sad it will be gone, Fluttershy offered in her tiny, gentle voice. Her pink mane fell over one of her pretty blue eyes. I can't imagine such a thing. I guess there's no place like Stones, Rainbow joked. Okay, I'll admit it. That was bad. Hey, are those emeralds around the flower border? Rarity gasped, trotting up to the barn entrance. She was easily distracted by gemstones, no matter where they were. How divine! Come on inside, y'all, Applejack said, ushering her friends and Pinkie Pie's family inside. At least we'll have a little bit of privacy in here. She peeked her head out of the barn door to make sure there were no stray party ponies following them. The Pie sisters looked at their surroundings in awe. Everything seemed to be so much brighter in PonyVille than back home. Good call, AJ. Now, where were we? Twilight walked over and hugged Pinkie. Luckily, she had started to perk up after Apple Bloom brought her an emergency cupcake. Thank goodness Pinkie had recently installed a few pink glass cases around PonyVille for situations just like this one. A cupcake was an instant cheer-upper. What happened to the farm, Mr. Rock? And what can all of us here in PonyVille do to help? Twilight wanted to make sure the family understood just how important her friends were to her. Being a princess required lots of support. It wasn't just a one-pony job. Igneous sat down on a wooden bench and hung his head. It looked like he had the weight of the whole rock farm on his shoulders. Marble, Limestone, and Cloudy Quartz trotted over and sat beside him. They all looked really sad. Go on now, Iggy, Cloudy said with her slight country twang. She patted her husband on the back. Tell the princess here what's going on. Why don't you explain, Cloudy? He said, looking tired. Yes, tell us, Mom, Pinkie said, jumping up and down. She couldn't take the suspense any longer. Tell us now. Calm down for granite's sake, Cloudy replied. I'll tell you. But before she could begin, Limestone blinked her eyes and cleared her throat. It's the gems, she blurted out. The gems? Rarity asked. Any mention of jewels always piqued her interest. What about them? Ever since that Crystal Empire showed up again, all any pony wants are stones that shine, sparkle, and shimmer, Cloudy explained. She cast her eyes down to the floor in defeat, and her bottom lip started to quiver. Plain old rocks are boring. No, they're not, Mom, Pinkie cut in. Rocks are so totally awesome. There's slate and granite and marble and mudstone and, well, you tell that to the rest of Equestria, Marble Pie replied. We haven't had any business for months. That's awful, said Twilight. She felt especially bad thinking of all she had done for the Crystal Empire. She never expected the rest of Equestria to be affected by its return, especially by turning ponies out of their homes. Pinkie suddenly recalled that very morning when she'd seen Cheerilee's gemline front path, and Rarity had just pointed out that the Apple family had put in some gems around the barn. Now that Pinkie thought about it, it did seem like a lot of ponies right there in PonyVille were really into jewels lately. But Pinkie Pie never considered how that trend could be a problem for any pony, let alone her own family. Pinkie looked at the sad faces of her two sisters and her parents. The gravity of the situation hit her like a ton of rocks. She had to do something, anything, to help them. Pinkie may have left her rock farming days behind her, but the last thing she wanted was for her family to lose the farm. She pictured the old barn, the rock fields, and the drab gray landscape. It wasn't much, but it was home. Thinky Pinkie, she said to herself. She thought extra hard, and then it came to her. Pinkie began trotting around the barn, skipping and shouting, I know, I know. She did a grand leap and landed right in front of her parents. A puff of dirt and hay from the ground billowed up around her, and Limestone sneezed. We'll throw a party, Pinkie Pie announced. Then no pony will take you guys for granted anymore. Get it? For granted, she laughed. Applejack and Rainbow Dash chuckled. A party? Asked Cloudy Quartz. She furrowed her brow in disapproval. I don't know about that. Yeah, but not just any party, Mom, Pinkie said, growing more excited by the second. A party dedicated to the total amazingness of rocks. It will be a rock concert. We'll get bands and all sorts of rocks to decorate and invite every pony from every city all over Equestria to our very own Ponypalooza. Pinkie smiled wide and spread her arms as if to say, ta-da! Twilight, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Fluttershy, and Rarity all turned to Pinkie's family for some sort of reaction. Marble frowned, Limestone blinked, Cloudy winced, and Igneous remained stone-faced. What a splendid suggestion, Pinkie, Rarity finally said, breaking the silence. What do you think, Mr. Rock? I think, Igneous said, stepping forward, that it's... Every pony leaned forward in anticipation of what he would say. It's... Pinkie's smile grew with excitement. It's the silliest idea I've ever heard in my life. This is not something one of your parties can fix. Why can't you be serious for once, Pinkamena? Well, I just thought that it could be super fun if... Fun, Igneous interrupted. Why don't you go run along now and leave us alone with the princess so we could figure this out for real? Marble flipped her straight gray bangs and nodded in agreement with her father. Pinkie's face fell. All she wanted to do was help, and in the best way she knew how. And ever since she left the rock farm to live in PonyVille, parties had been her whole entire life. Pinkie Pie loved nothing more than to make other ponies smile. Usually a little laughter and fun could ease even the worst problems. It had even worked the day Pinkie had gotten her cutie mark. She'd thrown her very first party for the whole Pie family, and they'd all laughed and danced and smiled. So why wasn't it working now? Pinkie looked to each of their faces. No pony was smiling. Maybe they were right. Maybe she did need to stop being so silly all the time. Maybe it was time to be a little more serious. If it meant that much to her family, then it meant that much to her. She made a decision right then and there. Mom, Dad, Pinkie Pie said, looking to her parents. I, Pinkamena Diane Pie, Pinkie promised to be a super serious daughter from now on and not to throw any more parties. Cross my heart, hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye. Pinkie's friends looked at one another in shock. There was nothing in Equestria that would make Pinkie Pie break a pinky promise. The situation with the rock farm had just gone from gravelly to grave.